Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Tech Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with this week's tech guest. But first, as always, I want to give a shout out to some other techs, our great sponsors. Now, these are all companies I used as an athletic director. They're all great companies. You should be using them too. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Gipper for their support of the podcast. Gipper's thousands of professionally designed templates are fully customizable in your colors, your brands, your logos, so you can join the 20,000 high school and college athletic directors who are using Gipper for their marketing tool. I'd like to say it's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com to create, share, and schedule all your social media. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to Hometown. Hometown's platform has, I'm going to say, dozens of different features that can help you as an athletic director, as a head coach, even as a principal. Things like digital ticketing. They're still the number one digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges, but fundraising, website construction, as I mentioned, the Hometown list goes on and on. Go to hometown.com. They're going to show you how to save time, show you how to raise money, and show you how to bring your community together. That's hometown.com. We also want to say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Between the connections you're going to make in your cohort, the real world curriculum and projects that you'll do during your degree program, you're also going to complete 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Go to Ohio University and check out their online masters in athletic administration. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Now, Wall of Fame has been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade with their video boards, but their new content creation service, you got to see it to believe it. Their team of writers and creators are going to come up with compelling stories from your history, your school's legacy, to help promote that you can then put on social media. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com for more information. Click on Content Services. vitalsignswalloffame.com. You're going to be glad you did. Let's also say thanks to Athletic Surveys. If you're not using a survey to take the pulse of your student athletes, your coaches, even your parents, you're really missing out. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Schedule a live web demo. That's athleticsurveys.com. We also want to thank Huddle. You know, as a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. Our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just love the platform. Go to huddle.com and join the millions of users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We also want to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every day. Scheduling, rosters, results. It does all of this and more. Does it better? Does it faster than the other platforms? Facilities, athletic eligibility. Go to homecampus.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to Booster Hub, the number one Booster Club software platform. Working with boosters, you know, the volunteer signups and volunteer changes are sometimes a daily occurrence. With Booster Hub, nothing falls through the cracks. Everybody stays connected and engaged. The same is true for sponsorship fees and concession sales. Give your parents, give your boosters the platform they need. Give them the platform they deserve. And that platform is Booster Hub. And finally, we want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Take a look at their indoor score tables and video boards. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Their products are tremendously versatile, and their customer service is just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule your visit today. And with all our sponsors, make sure you mention you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast and a segment that we call Tech Tuesday. Long-time listeners of the podcast will certainly recognize today's guest. And if you're new, hey, you need to go back and listen to his contributions. We're going to be visiting today with Loya. Lance is a multi-best-selling author, speaker, and coach. He's the founder of the Teammate Factory. One of my favorite books. I've got it right here on my bookcase. The We Gear. Just tremendous. On the speaking end of it, he speaks to schools, to businesses. He was the keynote at our state athletic director conference just a year ago, and somebody I like to consider a friend. Lance, Loya, welcome back to the Educational AD Podcast.
I was trying to think of the old commercial, Jake. I think it was the Hair Club for Men. I'm not just the president, I'm a client. I feel like on this podcast, I'm not just a guest. I'm a fan. I'm a listener. Actually, this is one of my favorite podcasts, and I love what you do, and I love hearing the stories of your guests. So that's sincere.
You are very kind, and again, we were talking before we started recording. I'm retired, so I've got a lot of time to do these interviews, and I do really enjoy hearing the stories. And let's hear your story, just in case somebody is new to Lance Loya. Give us your life story in the next 2 minutes, so they can have an idea of who they're visiting with today.
Okay, so in a very brief, nutshell, condensed version, I was a former intercollegiate athlete, became a high school and eventually a college coach. I had a harrowing experience on a flight home from watching a player I had coached receive an award, and that harrowing experience led me to write this silly little children's book for my own daughters who were just starting school at the time called Be a Good Teammate. And the success of that book, and it got published and sent out into the world, it led to me writing more books, adult nonfiction books. So, Jake, that's what I do full time now. I speak at events and I write full time, and my world revolves around one topic: the art of being a good teammate. So I study and research that topic exclusively now.
And again, for listeners, I want to emphasize that, while Lance has a tremendous background in our world, in athletics, I want to emphasize that research part, that, he's done a tremendous amount of research that he shares in his presentations, in his books, and, is considered, one, if not the leader on this whole idea of being a good teammate. As coaches, as ADs, that's all we're looking for. Play nice together. So I want to give this out at the beginning, and then we'll do it again at the end. Your website, where can they get the books? And then I want you to share with their listeners, kind of a big announcement.
So I'm very easy. It's real simple. It's lanceloya.com, LanceLoya. All of my books are available there. Links to my podcasts, our videos are all on that site. And I'm going to, all my books are also available in all the normal book outlets, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, BAM. But today, Jake, I want to share another website and an exciting announcement that I'm really excited to share. And it is from the goodteammatefactory.com, goodteammatefactory.com. And we've just launched a new 30-minute team building workshop specifically for sports teams that is intended to with focus on one objective, and that is to get kids to understand what it really means to be a good teammate. And we've talked about this in previous occasions, Jake. I think most kids want to be good teammates. They just don't fully understand what that means, and that lack of understanding leads to people overestimating how good of a teammate they actually are, and underestimating how impactful that concept can be, not only on their team's success, but their personal success and their own level of happiness. And, this is one of the biggest leadership failures I see, not just in team sports, but in all types of teams. Leaders provide expectation without explanation. They expect kids to be good teammates. They tell them to be good teammates. They expect them to hold each other accountable, but they don't really explain how you do that or what that means. In this workshop, it is designed to specifically achieve that goal. So it's the type of thing where a team would gather in a classroom or a locker room in front of a video or a projection screen, and it's going to be about a 30-minute video. It's a series of these short 3 to 4 minute videos, and there are discussion questions to prompt some further discussion of these topics interwoven within those videos.
Well, it sounds fascinating. And again, I've got the benefit of having heard you present and read your books, et cetera. So I've got an idea of kind of the structure. But for somebody who might not be familiar with, be a good teammate or the things that you really focus on, give them a little teaser. We want them to go to the website, but
Sure.
give them a little bit about what they can expect.
So, one of the things I do when I do a workshop with larger groups, I ask them to all write down as many positive attributes as they can of someone they would consider to be a good teammate. And in a very, very short amount of time, that becomes quite a long list. And that really presents team leaders, coaches, athletic directors with one of their biggest problems. That's a lot to remember. How do you get kids to remember all those things and to understand what it really means to be a good teammate? Well, there must be a way to package it. So I set out on a journey of discovery. I started interviewing professional athletes and coaches and teachers of the year, principals of the year, business leaders, military leaders. And over the course of time, I started noticing a pattern. And there were 5 behaviors in particular that I kept seeing repeated over and over. It wouldn't matter if it was the millionaire professional athlete or the hourly wage worker at a fast food restaurant. They're all engaging in those same 5 behaviors. And I like to use the expression that, you don't have to be fast, you don't have to be tall, you don't have to be good looking, come from a good family or a good neighborhood to be a good teammate. You just have to be alive. And the duality of that statement is ALIVE, were those 5 behaviors. It was an acronym of the 5 behaviors. Very, very briefly, active was, when people come to a problem, good teammates, they're proactive about it. They respond. They don't blame, shame, complain, point fingers. They act upon it. Walk into a locker room, see a wet towel on the floor. They don't complain about somebody leaving it there. They walk over, pick it up, and put it in the bin. L was loyal, and it's a commitment, an allegiance to something greater than self-interest. I was invested. They aren't just interested in the team's problems. They immerse themselves into the team to the point that they see their team's problems as their own problems. And V was viral. It's sharing your enthusiasm, your fervor for being a part of your team with others and being aware of your emotional contagion and how your body language affects the people around you. And then finally, E, empathetic. It's taking a step back and considering what it feels like to be your teammate, to be on the other side of you, and how those annoying little quirks that you're quick to write off as, oh, that's just me, that's how I am, how those affect the other members of your team. So if we can focus on just those 5 behaviors, that acronym is very frankly a tool for assessment. It's a measuring stick. In the classic academic sense, it's a rubric. It tells kids what boxes they need to check to be a good teammate. So this video, we focus on each of those 5 behaviors. And that's the tool for coaches.
Yeah. and again, for listeners, this is all found on the website, goodteammatefactory.com. Lance, again, I've said this many times, on this overall subject of, let's say, mental training, for lack of a better word, I don't think there's a coach or an AD in America that would deny that it's valuable and it's something that they and their coaches should be doing. The trick is, convincing the coach to, take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes maybe out of their weekly schedule to do some of that mental training. And on your website, on the Good Teammate website, you have some myths. And one of the myths that you talk about is, we don't need any more team building. And I love how you respond to that. So, that coach that's thinking right now, we don't need more team building. How would you respond to that?
Well, this isn't team building. It's teammate building. This is that mindset that the coaches need. I mean, I often say that teamwork makes the dream work, but at the end of the day, it's the teammates that make the teamwork, that mindset of that individual, and that mindset can be developed. So you look at all of the problems you have, as a coach and all the challenges you have. You're trying to win games, you're trying to organize practices, you're trying to keep tabs on your staff, keep your parents happy, your boosters happy. Well, what's the one common thing denominator through all of those elements? The players. And if you can get players to be good teammates, all of those other problems fall into place, and teamwork becomes a byproduct of developing that individual mindset. So it behooves you, for a basketball coach, for instance, if you want your team to be good shooters, you work on shooting. If you want teams to work together, well, you better work on that teammate mindset. So my question is always, why is this a bad thing? How could this possibly disrupt your training? Because we're not going to talk about strategy. We're not going to talk about technique at anywhere in there. In this workshop, the only thing we're going to focus on is the mindset of that individual and getting themselves to not only be a good teammate, but to think of themselves from that perspective. And that is going to affect so many different elements of your program. I mean, right now, just in the national landscape of interscholastic athletics, we're going to reach a tipping point with the emergence of club sports. And this is not meant to be anti-club sports, because I'm a huge fan of those things. But when you look at club sports and you look at high school and interscholastic sports, there's a difference in the hierarchy of the purpose behind those. The idea of using sports as a way to teach life skills is certainly lower on the club sport scale than it should be on the scholastic scale. And at some point, I, as Joe taxpayer, am going to step back and say, well, I'm spending my tax dollars for these schools and to build these facilities and build these nice football fields, soccer fields, and the turf fields and the gyms. What am I as a citizen? What am I as a community member getting out of this? Just helping some kids get better jobs? Well, I'd rather my tax dollars go to the chemistry lab or, the STEM department. But if I know they are using this to teach life skills, and those life skills are going to improve the quality of my community, they're going to produce future community leaders, I'm going to be much more receptive to sending my tax dollars in that direction. So I think this workshop and getting kids to think about being a good teammate checks that box.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I love how you took that myth apart. I'm going to stay on this, and I love all you list 6 myths here, and
Okay.
I loved how you addressed each one. I'm going to go with number 5 one more time. That grumpy old coach is saying, what's the point of this mental training? The team with the most talent always wins. How do you respond to that one?
Well, that's not necessarily true at all. I mean, I can't think of it escaping. I'm having a senior moment, Jake. The adage that talent beats team when team doesn't work together, and that's so true. I mean, it's a cliche. You have all this talent on your team, but you cannot get them to work together. They can't collaborate. They're only interested in selfish agendas. They're trying to get their social media exposure. They're trying to get their scholarship. And well, the team ultimately falters because of that mindset. So yeah, that mindset does matter. It's not just the team with the most talent. It's the team with the most talent who works together. And many, many times it's those less than talented teams that do work together that come out on top.
Yeah, and we see it all the time. You're right. We just saw it recently at the highest level with the New York Knicks.
Sure.
All the talking heads were saying how every team they faced in the playoffs, had more talent than they did. But, that whole teamwork, chemistry, playing together, sacrificing millions of dollars in contracts so another player can be on the roster. It happens all the time. Absolutely. Okay. One more time on the program itself. They order the program. What do they actually end up getting?
Okay, so you'll go online. There's a register now, and it's ongoing virtual, so there's not a specific time that this happens. You do it on your own pace, anytime you want to do it. And once you get access to the course, you pay the fee. And right now it's discounted through the whole summer. It'll go up in price once the school year starts. But right now it's down to just $30. I mean, that's about as good of a deal as you're going to get for the impact you're going to get from this program. And once you have access to it, I give you lifetime access. You can review this as many times as you want. You can watch those videos as many times as you want. You get access to all the videos, plus there's supplemental content for what questions that can engage further discussion. There's also, after we got this out, this was released on Memorial Day weekend. And I had a couple coaches and athletic directors that already bought it. And I'd heard back from them, interesting. They were saying like one of the problems they were having is they have their coaches always telling their players, we got to hold each other accountable. And kids that is a challenge for them, especially that peer-to-peer confrontation. So we give you a very specific strategy for how you can confront a disruptive teammate. So there's a bonus video in there that gives you a strategy for how you can confront each other as a team member. And that is a very effective tool for kids. As adults, as coaches, often we're programmed to do that almost instinctively, or at least we've had training over the years and our experiences allows us to. But for kids, that's quite often uncharted territory, and it compels them to, they just stay quiet, keep their mouth shut, look the other way. And silence equates to approval. So we give that. So they get that, you pay for the course, you get access, you get a password, a login and credentials. You can log in as many times as you want. It's lifetime access. And I'm very confident in this content that we also offer a money back guarantee. So as a coach, athletic director, what do you possibly have to lose? You try it out, you don't like it, we'll give you your money back. And then people ask, how many of these do I have to buy? It's like a book, and that's probably the best analogy I can give. You can buy that book and share it with as many people as once. You can buy one registration. You can share with every sports team in your school if you want, but only one person can have access to it at the same time. So if you want to buy, 3 or 4, so different teams can do it concurrently, you're more than welcome to do that. And I will tell you, Jake, I put in there's a discount code just for your listeners. So if you use the discount code, the coupon code podcast, PODCAST, you will give you an extra 10% off right now as ongoing. So as a gift to your listeners, Jake.
All right. So you get the video series lifetime for $30. You get the supplemental questions for follow-up discussions. You get the extra content on how to help your student athletes be accountable and hold others accountable. And by the way, you also get a discount. All right, listeners, what are you waiting for? Again, the website is, you give out the website. I don't want to get yours and the book or the series website confused here.
Well, you can get it through my own personal website, lanceloya.com. There's a link on there. But the website that goes straight to the course, to the Good Teammate Workshop, is goodteammatefactory.com. Goodteammatefactory.com. And, my agent said to me, why put it so low? People are going to equate value to that price. And I get that argument, but I want to discount that. I don't want that. My thing is, I can't get to every possible student. I can't get to every possible coach. And I really believe in the impact of this content and this concept of being a good teammate. And it's my personal mission. It's how I believe it's the path to making the world a better place. So this is my attempt to get that message out there and get others to jump on this bandwagon. It's my Johnny Appleseed moment, if you will. And, I just worked. I spoke at a principals conference in Chicago recently, and a principal came up to me and was telling me this horrible incident they had at their school this year in their weight room with one of their sports teams in a hazing incident. And you think about that, and the coaches stepped outside. They were counting uniforms, and some kids were working in working in a weight room alone, and there was some bullying that quickly evolved into hazing, and now there are lives forever altered because of that unfortunate, horrible moment. People lost their jobs over it. These are people who weren't even there when it happened, and they were highly educated, highly trained. This is an athletic director who's dedicated their career to being good at what they do and learning leadership, and now completely wiped away. When those moments happen, you're going to want to go back and you say, what could I have done to prevent this? And when they come looking for somebody's head to put on a chopping block, you are going to need, as an athletic director, an answer to say, well, this is what we were doing. We were trying. And when you come back to your boosters, your school board, your admins, and you say, look, we've got this program. We are teaching our kids to be good teammates. We're really putting into this. We're making an effort to make this happen. That might just be your saving grace in those moments.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. And again, thanks for all you do in this space for athletic directors, leaders, coaches, and athletes too. Lance, let's give out all that information one more time. You know, the books, the podcast, your website, your speakers, services. How do our listeners find out more? And listeners, you have a tremendous resource here.
Yeah. My website, my personal website is Lance Loya, LanceLoya.com. And on my website, I have links to all my social media pages. I share daily inspirational content and videos about being a good teammate. You can sign up for my weekly newsletter. It comes out every Tuesday, Teammate Tuesdays. And I will tell you, Jake, some of the biggest, most influential personalities in the sports world and leadership world subscribe to that newsletter, and I'm pretty sure I've caught several of them reading it in commercial breaks when they're on the air, because I see when they log in, and oh, you were in a commercial break, so they're reading it on their phones during commercial breaks. So that makes my heart smile. But all that is there. The links to my content, my books are all on that website. And if you want to go directly to the Good Teammate Factory workshop, there's lots of information there that answer all of your questions and some sample videos. You can see what the course is like before you ever even try it. It's goodteammatefactory.com. And Jake, I'll add one last thing here. I know time is at a premium for us, but you know, right now, my background is in sports, and I still work with schools. I still work with sports teams at all levels, from professionals to amateur levels. But right now, my biggest clients are actually human resource societies and hiring firms. And I hear it from them all the time. And it's why they're interested in my work. The number one skill employers are looking for in potential employees right now, the ability to work well with others, the ability to be a good teammate. They can put all kinds of technology in place. They can use AI to do all kinds of amazing technologically advanced things, but they still need humans to collaborate, work together, appreciate their role in the bigger picture. And if you can use this as this concept of being a good teammate, you can use that with your student athletes. You give them an edge in the job market. You make them exponentially more desirable to a future employee. So this, to me, is precisely how you get that ball rolling.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And again, we talk about this all the time as coaches that, well, sports, it builds character. It teaches lifelong skills like sacrifice and commitment and dedication and hard work. And, oh, by the way, how to be a good teammate. So, here's a tool, if you will, some additional tools to help you as a leader, whether you're working with student athletes or working with your own coaching staff. Again, I use the example, we want our coaches to play nice together.
Sure.
How to be a good teammate. Great stuff. Lance, thanks as always for everything you do. Thanks for coming back on the podcast and being one of our all-time leaders in downloads for episodes. And we're definitely going to have to get you back. I won't wait so long this next time.
Well, please don't. I am a legitimate fan of the show, Jake. And, you always go on at the beginning and end of your podcast and you thank your sponsors. I think it behooves all of us to also recognize and thank your sponsors too. And I tell ADs all the time, look at the people who are sponsoring your events and are sponsoring things that are value to you, because they are people that care. Reward them. Go back, use their products, eat at their establishments, use their businesses because they care about their communities. So I thank you for doing this podcast and for recognizing those businesses, and I encourage all of your listeners to take advantage of them.
Well, you are the best, as always. Speaking of the best, we want to thank our listeners for tuning in and remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Tech Tuesday just about every week and just about every day. I try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So please come back and join us again on the next Tech Tuesday on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Wow, the great Lance Loya. Visit his website, Lance Loya and the Teammate Factory, and take advantage of that new program there. $30 for all those resources, plus you get 10% off if you use the podcast discount code. Speaking of discounts, if you visit our sponsors and mention the Educational AD Podcast, they're going to give you a discount too. Let's say thanks to Hometown, Athletic Surveys, Sideline Interactive, Huddle, Ohio University's Online Masters, Gipper, Booster Hub, Home Campus, and Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.